Welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Billen-Mejia, in Delaware, USA.
And me, Martin Furber, in Preston, UK.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who'd like to know more about the fascinating subject of hypnosis and the benefits it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist.
I'm a retired medical doctor turned consulting hypnotist.
We are Two Hypnotherapists Talking.
So let's get on with the episode. Let's talk. So you have a slew of clients right now.
I do. I have
very
a waiting list.
Yes. How long a waiting list do you have? Is it going to be many sessions before they'll be able to see you?
It's about a month now for the next one.
Ooh.
For the next new one. It's about a month because I don't want to start them off and then say to them the next session is going to be 2 to 3 weeks after that. I'd rather wait till there's a break where they can see me regularly and weekly.
Right.
The issues they're seeing me for is something I would treat over several weeks.
Right. And these are the clients that are coming from one particular source.
Yeah. And it's
that can be, you can explain to the person referring them that's the deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That person knows. But also it's with that kind of thing that I'm doing with them, repetition is of the essence. So it's like same day, same time, each day, each week.
That's good. Yeah. I've gone into the other thing I had a bunch of people come. I don't think I'm advertising in a particular cycle, but I have a whole bunch of people making ICs and making appointments, and I have people for a month or two. But of course, unfortunately, hypnosis works so fast that they can't stay with you forever.
No, of course not.
So I'm now finishing up. I finished with one person. I've got two others that are towards the end of their sessions, and nothing on the horizon.
Oh,
and yet no, that's not true. I've had some people contact me and say, I will, because they're in my world for other reasons. And they've said, I'll be calling you to have an appointment with you soon.
Right. Okay.
But, not the, but it's very strange, very ebb and flow. I get a whole bunch of people at once and then nobody for a while.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's like you teach your clients self-hypnosis techniques, don't you?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I provide audio for them to listen to. And yet I do still have a handful of clients, let's put it that way, a handful who still like to come and see me about once a month or once every 6 weeks, just for the therapeutic relaxation that, they feel is better done in person or on Zoom as it happens.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, for them, I wouldn't say it's the highlight of the month, but it's something that they look forward to.
Are those mostly confidence clients?
Yeah, confidence and anxiety.
Yeah, I have a couple who I think would rather like, let's go for coffee.
Yeah.
Rather than therapy. But it's the conversational, the sense of being understood that is important.
It is, yeah. And of course, we're both very strong on the pre-talk, the part of the session before the actual hypnosis, aren't we? We're both very strong on that. And I think every time I do see a client who I'm seeing, every few weeks, just for, as they call a top-up, as it were, you can still glean more from them in that first part of the session, in that conversation, in that pre-talk. You can still get those little light bulb moments. You can still help them recognize something else about themselves.
And I think sometimes clients realize that things that have been niggling them, but they were problems with glasses.
Yeah, I know they're lopsided. I was just noticing. I hate this thing looking at myself in the camera.
Well, we can do a session on that, Martin.
Thank you.
It's like if a big problem is gone, you have the energy to look at the little problems, the little things that you might want to change. So that tends to be the way people come to me. They've got one issue and we work it out that they've got this and this and this as well, but we go sequentially. Let's get rid of the big problem and then the little one and then the little one. But mostly things are, by the 5th or 6th session, all of it's gone, and they know how to hypnotize themselves if they need to.
I've had it though with I can think of 2 instances with people with fear of public speaking, and that's something I tend to do in about 3 or 4 sessions, and with a mental rehearsal and everything it's usually for a specific event,
right?
And then they've come back to me afterwards and said, oh well, can you help me with X, Y, Z?
Yes.
Sort of thing. Because when you're doing it for one particular, like you say, one big thing like fear of public speaking or something, and then they get up there and they do their public speaking, they do that event, and it all goes well for them, then obviously they've got their own proof that it worked for them. They know beyond any doubt. So then, yeah, they will start asking about, as you say, smaller things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not necessarily
to them.
And they're not necessarily that small, but they just weren't the thing that was front and center of the problem for them.
Yeah.
Often with public speaking, that's to do with their career. And obviously, the people I have seen, it's but they've reached a certain level of management and they need to be able to do those presentations, or they're not going to advance. And obviously, that takes up a lot of real estate in your head. You're worrying about how your career is going.
Yeah, well, that's it. Though, when you've got something like public speaking, and I know from experience with various clients, it is that the whole career is going flashing in front of them just before they get on stage. You know, if it's something that's a big event for their company or their boss is there or something like that. Yeah, they've said, "Oh, I can imagine my whole life flashing in front of me, my whole career. You know, there's my job on the line," and of course they get more wound up, and it's like, no.
Yes. As you say so often, breathe.
Breathe and breathe.
So are you going to be backpedaling on any of your outreach to the public whilst you've got this list? Because if you're already behind with clients, are you going to end up being 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? You know, somebody have to wait that long.
No, because I'm now that I've been going, through the cycle over the year. Summer goes quiet anyway, so I'm not expecting too many more new inquiries over the summer, unless I get any more for fear of flying.
Most of the time of the year.
It is.
Are you planning on taking some downtime yourself? Will you be cutting back?
Oh, I'm going to Belgium in September.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So you can go straight through the summer and then take the shoulder time to be on vacation.
No, actually, it's the end of August. The end of August. We have been summoned to a family event.
That's nice.
Of course, there's no cat here now that was too old to go in the cat's home, and now he's just no longer with us. So Nick said he's going over there. So I said, yeah, I'm coming with you.
Yep, fair enough.
Yep.
Oh, well, you'll be gone a week?
No, and I'm going over for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got courses to deliver either side of it. Nick's
so you're not taking time off. That was the question. Are you going to have time off? You're going to have a break, but you're not going to really have a vacation.
No, but I'm having all Christmas and New Year off. And I know we're only in July, but it'll soon be on us. It will be. So you're just going to shut shop for that period of time? I am absolutely shutting shop for Christmas and New Year, yes. Good. Yeah, absolutely.
Now there's an interesting question.
And if I don't, you can scream at me.
I'll be happy to. How will you manage, excuse me, how will you manage that expectation of your clients that you'll be there? Will you, when you take on a new client, say end of November, and you say, okay, and I'll see you up until December 20th, and then I won't see you until the new year. Yeah. Or okay, it will be, but obviously every client's unique, every client's individual, so their treatment will be tailored for them. And if it means me making some extra audios or something for them during that Christmas and New Year period, so be it. Ultimately, if it was a case where it was vital to their well-being, even if I was away, these days, you can meet them. Yeah, I can still meet them on Zoom. It's literally an hour out of my day then. Right. I wouldn't take the laptop onto the beach somewhere, but I can still help them while I'm on holiday. Yeah, we're hoping we want to visit one of our sons who lives in Arizona. We want to go in late September, early October. The weather is better right now. Parts of Arizona, the temperature is 120, so I definitely don't want to go there. Yeah, see, when I think of Arizona, he's up a mountain, so it's not that. No, you're telling me last year, snow. He's mostly at around the 70s and 80s right now, but they don't have AC, and he's not terribly happy at 80. But we want to go there, and that if Francisco's still working for the same firm, because he does contract work, he may not, he may be done, in which case we can go for however long. But if he can work remotely and I can work remotely, I would go for longer and just see clients through my laptop.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to see a new client that way, because it's not as, I mean, I just, it's a bigger size. I can see their facial expressions easier on the proper computer. But for all my long-standing clients, I think that might be good. But anyway, we'll see. But yes, I am going to take some downtime in the fall as well. But most of the summer is taken with however many clients show up. Who know, I may have a month off. I've got 2 people who won't be done until September, but several, at least with the program that they're doing with me. So we shall see. We shall see. Are you still writing for your newspaper?
I'm writing for 3 newspapers now.
Do you see a direct correlation between that and seeing clients, or is it mostly just street cred for the people who are referring? Some of them must have found you that way.
Yeah, I think it's just the general awareness thing. I mean, what is it they say in advertising? People have got to sort of see you 11 times or something before they...
Yeah, certainly more than 7. Like yeah.
Touch points, they call it, don't they, these days? Because it's on your phone. I think it's just the general awareness people have. I mean, I get different approaches for different things. Oh yeah, funny thing happened the other day. A public relations company got in touch with me.
Oh.
Okay, asking if my contact details were correct so they could send me things about mental health and well-being from their clients if I wanted to publish them. They were approaching me as a writer.
Oh.
In the same way you might pitch something to a newspaper.
Yes. Well, okay. So they were pitching
me as the newspaper, you see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your contract with the newspaper is then, if you're going to be using other people's material.
Well, I'm not. Well, that's what I sort of put them in the picture. No, actually, I write mental health and well-being, about my own thoughts and support and information. I don't, don't know if they were, I don't know, because I ended the conversation.
I get a lot of PR people contacting me, and they clearly haven't read anything I've actually written. They've just grabbed it off a directory. Yeah.
Well, this is it. I thought at first, PR, they're trying to see if they could do some PR for me, but it wasn't. No, it was for their clients and they were approaching me as a writer for a newspaper. Yeah. So anything interesting happened in your week then?
No,
connected with hypnotherapy,
connected with hypnotherapy, no. I've had 3 clients who've been thrilled, and that's been very nice. And I will probably be touching base with a couple of physicians who have referred clients, because they're coming to the end of their sessions. So I'll be able to give a little report back, which I always get permission to contact their doctors. So hopefully that will generate some more referrals.
Yeah.
And as they get more success stories that they can say to their patients,
Yeah.
Well, I had a patient that helped with this and that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can have psychiatrists and other doctors that believe in hypnotherapy, endorse hypnotherapy. But it's better when they can say, and this hypnotherapist has treated XYZ number of my patients and, got great results, sort of thing. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to tell you, I'm just trying to find it on my phone. Bear with us, viewers and listeners. I've been invited onto a podcast.
Oh, which one?
I was just trying to find the name of it. It's a health and fitness one, and they wanted to talk to me about hypnotherapy and weight loss.
Oh, good.
So I said, yes, I'm your man. I'll have to let you know how that goes. Perhaps we could put a link to it in our show notes.
Absolutely. When will this be occurring, do you think?
I'm having a conversation with them tomorrow morning, with a view to then setting a date for recording.
So probably won't be in these show notes. It'll be in future episodes notes.
Yeah, future episodes. So keep watching.
Good. And that wasn't somebody you know?
No, you just contacted me right out of the blue.
Excellent.
It's some health and fitness podcast ran by one person. I've not got the details to hand, otherwise I would say. But I'm having a conversation with them tomorrow morning with a view to then, if we agree everything, then booking a date to record it. So
excellent.
Because I'm presuming he wants to know about more more about how hypnotherapy works for people who want to lose weight or get a control of their eating habits, which is what it's really about. It's not about the food, is it? It's about the habits.
Well, it's a diet in the sense that which you habitually eat is your diet, but not dieting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm saying though, the issues why people eat more than they need to maintain body weight are rarely anything to do with the food itself.
Almost never.
Yeah.
I only have one weight client at the moment, but I'm sure there will be others in the near future. There's certainly been several. And it's such a common theme with when I read anything about it, it just seems to be that the whole diet culture is aimed at women so squarely.
Well, yeah, there's more and more at men these days as well. I mean, you look at the cover of Men's Health magazine. Okay, you've generally got somebody with the body beautiful, 8-pack, perfect muscle, everything, you know. What that person has to do to achieve that body, wrapping themselves in clean film and going to bed.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah,
to say that way.
It's
after you turn about 18.
Yeah, it's just not real. It's just not real. Nobody looks like that. It's the same as when you see scantily clad, beautiful women with the perfect, sorry, let me put that in inverted commas, deemed perfect figure.
Yes.
You know, naturally they are very, very few and far between with that kind of shape. You know, it takes obsessive amounts of work. It's not just a matter of saying it takes work. It takes obsessive amounts of work, doesn't it? And these days, of course, lots of surgery for a lot of people.
Yes, quite probably. But more concerning is the fact that people feel unhappy with their weight simply because they're constantly told they should be unhappy with their weight.
Yeah. And yet, okay, let's look at the food industry and food manufacturing. Okay, the manufacturers of all foods, their job is to make it as attractive as possible to you, so you buy as much of it as possible, because their job is just to sell you the food, and they're not bothered how much of it you eat.
No, just as long as you put it in the fridge briefly before you throw it away. Yeah. Of course, the other issue is, should we be talking about food manufacturing? No, we should grow it and then slaughter it if necessary, or pick it and cook it. The use of hyper-processed, ultra-processed foods are really a big issue.
Right. Okay.
In weight in general.
Just something out of interest, actually, because as you know, okay, yeah, I lost loads and loads of weight, but I am not what I would say obsessive about my food anymore. Now and again, I will eat something that's classed as, you know, crap food, and that's fine because I quite like the taste of it, like a nice kebab or something like that. Now, Nick this morning decided to cook a pizza. It was a frozen pizza he bought. I won't say the brand name because it's big in America as well, and I don't want the arse suing off me. But it was a certain brand of pizza, very, very famous. Cooked it in the oven. Said to me, "Do you want some?" I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll have some." I've not had one for years because I'm not a great pizza lover, and I bit into it, and I suddenly realised how sweet they taste. It's like the amount of sugar that must be pumped into that. It was like jam on toast. It was that sweet. It was supposed to be pepperoni.
The sweetness is coming from the tomato, because tomato is a fruit. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I know, but they're not that sweet naturally, Denise. This was like, it tasted like jam on toast with pepperoni. And
interesting combination.
Yeah, because I've not eaten one for ages. Yeah, I wasn't never a great pizza lover. Not
that's
thing.
That's
fish
the
and
thing.
Chips, yeah, fish and chips, yeah, kebab and chips, yeah, that's my kind of thing. Never a great pizza.
But
lover.
the thing is, whenever you haven't had a food for a while, it suddenly tastes very, very different.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. It was like, it just tasted so manufactured.
Nick eats pizza on a regular basis. Did he have the same response to it?
No, it was gone before he'd looked at it. But then he probably burns off around 6,000 calories a day anyway, because he's always outside gardening or working.
Yeah,
and he has
that's the thing.
Job, so
that's a lot of. I don't see previous athletes. Some of the people I've seen have been a decade or two before have been athletic in their high school and college years, when you're a professional or serious footballer, whether American or a British version of football, you burn a lot of calories and you need to eat a lot more. The trouble is that the social aspects of that don't dissociate. And so when you're still being social with people and watching TV versions of football, they're still eating as if they're playing. And thereby,
And it's where you get those calories from. If you're an athlete and you need 7,000 calories a day, you're not going to eat 3 great big family-sized pizzas, are you, to get those calories? You're going to eat a lot of chicken breasts, a lot of steak, a lot of eggs, a lot of whatever, or even a lot of pasta if they need carbs.
True, but even if you continue to eat healthy food in such huge quantities and not be exercising, it's going to be a problem. But the problem is dissociating food from the social aspects of it. Now, you want to be social. Meals should be, you should eat. I have a client at the moment who is successfully dropping weight and he's a very active person. He's very social, but he eats by himself.
Okay.
Because he feels that eating alone, small portions, and without any other distraction, including conversation, is helpful to him. And he will then join the family or friends and watch them eat, and he can hold court while he's doing that.
Okay.
And it works for him. And so far, nobody's complained bitterly that he's not joining them, really. So,
okay. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the person, but it sounds as if it could lead to something a little bit obsessional. If he would,
and that's his concern. This is why he's with me. I mean, he knows that will work, but I don't know if he would want it to be sustainable, really.
Yeah, I mean, I would suggest that in time he starts to, on one meal out of 4, have it sat with the rest of them and then build it up from there. See how it goes. It's like anything. I mean, we're both big advocates of the fact that there is no one size fits all with the therapy we do. Is there?
Right.
You know, every single client is unique.
Frustratingly so at times. But yeah, there are so many similarities. I mean, it's like I said, there's no woman who tells you that she's perfectly happy with her body, mostly because she's been told she's not happy with her body by society. But very few people really are, whether they have cause or not.
Yeah, I mean,
but for different reasons. It's a different voice in their head. The messages are very similar, but it's a different voice in there.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There is far more pressure on women in terms of looks, in terms of their body shape, in terms of everything. There is far more, I feel, far more pressure on women than on men. But, you know, a lot of this stuff's catching up now with men, Denise, especially with the younger generation. As I say, if you look at the men's health magazines and that kind of thing, the pressures on our young people, it's interesting, actually. It's funny, something I was working on quite recently. The number of cases of anorexia in young men.
That was thought to be a girl's problem.
Yeah. It's becoming equal. You're getting parity between the two.
Are there similar numbers? Like, it's not uncommon, the gymnasts who need to keep a low weight in order to perform. Is it that sort of thing? Are these very athletic young men?
Not necessarily. No, these are people who've decided. It seems to have peaked from and since COVID. It seems to, in the common cases I've come across, in the studies I've been reading, I must make that clear, this isn't patients or clients I've been seeing. In the studies I've been reading about, this has been young people who, as we know with anorexia in particular, it's about the control. And it stems from the COVID times, or the thinking that's all, everything is pointing in that direction, let me put it that way, that it stems from the COVID era. Your eating habits were one of the few things you did have control over during lockdowns and things. Right. And that seems to be the catalyst for it, for this sudden up jump, where you've got almost parity between young men and young women now. I mean, when I was reading that study, that was the one thing that shocked me, that anorexia is the mental health condition with the highest death rate.
Yeah.
That surprised me. Because a lot of people think of anorexia as something dietary. It's not. It's a mental health condition. But also it's the one with the highest death rate percentage-wise.
Yeah. Diet just to be picky, it's anorexia nervosa, which is
anorexia nervosa. Yeah.
Anorexia means loss of appetite, and
yeah,
you can have that for a lot of reasons.
The other bit. Yeah, same as bulimia nervosa. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my dear, you are going to have to go off and do things, are you not?
I am. Yeah, I am. I am delivering a course helping people to be mental health first aiders this evening.
Are you going to be able to tell them how useful hypnosis is whilst you're there, or you just do it on the QT in the coffee room?
I've got to tell them how wonderful CBT is, and other
it's
therapies
not bad.
are available.
Yes, and other therapies are available. Exactly. It's not that CBT is bad, and there are several CBT providers who also use hypnosis. There are so many ways that you can.
Absolutely, I just think hypnotherapy is a kind of therapy.
I
think it's kind
and very fast when it's when the client is cooperating, when you've got the right fit between client and therapist, it can be incredibly fast.
It just reminded me of a funny thing. One of my clients said to me, who'd been having CBT for 18 months for their issue, and then came to see me, and I explained how hypnotherapy works, and she said, this challenging my thoughts, it just didn't work for me because I don't want to think about them. Okay, I get what you mean.
But she did well.
Brilliantly.
They just have to be able to join the thing. Anyway, my dear, go about your day for the day, and I'll see you. Well, I will undoubtedly see you before next week, but we will definitely see you next week.
And we will have a guest on next week's episode, won't we?
We will indeed.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye. We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.
If you found this episode useful, you can apply for free continuing professional development or CME credits using the link provided in the show notes. Feel free to contact either of us through the links in the show notes. Join us again next week.